Hello, musicians. So this is Mr. O'Connell. I just want to check in with you guys about a new song, Minuet number 1. I'm going to play through it, and then I'm going to, and then I'll talk about it a little bit, okay? This is by Johann Sebastian Bach, Minuet number 1. 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you guys for listening. So, there's a couple things to discuss about this song. The very beginning of the song, you'll notice the very top line of the staff, the key signature, has a hashtag on the top line. If you remember our staff, right, the lines are every good boy deserves fudge, right? That top line is an F. That means that in the key signature, if you have a sharp there, that means that all of your Fs are going to be sharp. If you're on the D string, it's an F sharp. Even if you're on the E string, it's an F sharp. Whenever there's an F, doesn't matter if it's high or low, it's sharp, okay? But you'll notice, there's no C sharp. We oftentimes have C sharp in the key signature, right? Not here. That's because we're in the key of G major, all right? So G major doesn't have a C sharp in it. But you're going to say, Mr. O'Connell, I notice in the third line we have a C sharp. And you would be right. Bach does this a lot. He starts in a home key. In this song, G is the home key. And then he'll often move. Excuse me, I had peanut butter about right before I did this video, so I keep on like wanting to eat more peanut butter, so I keep on salivating it. Anyway, that's why I'm stopping a lot. But anyway, so the second, you'll notice the third line down, there's a C sharp. Bach likes to start in G major, and then home key, the home key of G, right? And then he moves to D major for the middle section, because D major has F sharp and C sharp in it. So the middle two lines, lines 3 and line 4, are in D major. And then in the last two lines, he goes back home. And that always makes us feel happy when we hear the final note, and it's the same key as the beginning of the song. So good. So we end in we start in G, we go to D major, and then back to G major. Just a rule. So that sharp sign that you see in the third line, it's a C sharp, right? There's a sharp sign next to that note. When the sharp sign's next to the note, it's called an accidental. All right, and the accidental stays good for just that measure, for that entire measure. So you'll notice in that third line, second bar, there's 2 C sharps in that measure. That means, but even though there's only marked once, it's only marked in the first beat. But in the middle of the second beat, there's another C sharp, even though the sharp's not mentioned. It's because the sharp stays good for that measure. All right. So cool. So we have a bunch of C sharps in this middle section. One thing to note, and remember, C sharp is when you have a high 2 on the A string, right? And then when you C naturals are low 2, right? When you bring your second finger back to your first finger, okay? Nice. There's one thing. In the fourth line, you got to remember G naturals. So that means you're going to do a low 2 on the E string, okay? So make sure that fourth line is... So it's A, here, 3, but then you have to go to a low 2. Okay? Nice. Next thing to talk about. It's in 3/4 time. You notice that because the very beginning of the song is a 3 and then a 4 underneath. That if you remember your fractions, right? If you have a fourth of something, what's a fourth of a dollar? A quarter, right? Your little quarter coin that we have. That's because there's 4 quarters in a whole right there's 4 quarters in a dollar, right? But this, instead of having the whole measure be 4 counts, it's only 3 counts. So, but it's still the way you count this is 3/4 time, okay? And so that means there's 3/4 notes in every measure. But remember, it could be 3/4 notes. But what's equivalent to 3/4 notes? 6/8 notes, right, would be the same as 3/4 notes in terms of time. It would make up the same amount of time. Or if you look at the first measure of the third line, we got a quarter note and then a half note. So that's 1 plus 2. That's also equal to 3 counts, right? Okay. So anyway, so it's 3/4 time, and the way that we feel that is it's a dance. Minuet is a dance. It's an old dance when people had wigs and big dresses. Okay, and it's a 1, 2, 3, boom, chop, chop, boom, chop. So waltzes are also in 3/4 time. It's because they have that boom, chop, chop, boom. And notice the first beat is always the biggest sound. So you're gonna play it like this: 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So I want you to feel that beat 1 as you're playing. Okay, really, it's supposed to be a dance, right? So play it well in a very joyful way. It shouldn't be like a sad or anything like that. It's a nice and happy song. Good. I think that's all I want to talk about. The only last thing is the repeat signs. You'll notice I repeated the first 2 lines. That's because I have the piece on my screen. That's why I'm pointing to the screen. But on this screen, on your page, you should notice a repeat sign at the end of the end of the second line. So that means you go back to the beginning, right? And you play those lines again, and you keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And then you get to the very end of the song, and then you go back to the repeat sign before that, which is at the beginning of the third line, right? And then you play it again. So you play the first 2 lines, and then you go to the end of the song, and then you play, first 2 lines, play them again, and then you play the lines 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you go back to line 3 and play it again. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Sorry, it's a lot of talking. Have fun with this piece. It's one of my favorites. Take care, guys.